Now, how do you practice Dharma when you're frustrated with an automatic phone service? And it's not even a human being. So that's a good question, isn't it? Yeah? We get frustrated with human beings, and when we're frustrated with human beings, we get mad at them, and we want them to change. But it's hard when you get mad at a machine. Yeah? Because you're mad. It's like we anthropomorphize the machine and make it into a person that we can get mad at. But it's just a machine that is operating on its own causes and effects, that's all. So the causes for the right access code weren't there. The causes for other people being on the line weren't there. So it's interesting how we get angry just at a ripening of causes and conditions, and even when those causes and conditions are inanimate objects. So also with people, yeah, we get mad at them, but what's happening is just the product of causes and conditions. It's not like anybody is thinking, I want to make so-and-so frustrated. Or even if they do think like that, that thought is a product of causes and conditions. There's no hard and fast, solid I that is doing the thinking or creating the motivation. There's just causes and conditions coming together. But it's interesting how we get mad at causes and conditions. So it's actually helpful, when we get either angry or when we get attached or jealous or whatever, to see that whatever we're having such a strong emotional reaction towards is actually just a product of causes and conditions. There's no I behind it that is motivating it and making it happen and wanting to harm us. And similarly, there's no I from our side who is saying, I'm going to get mad. If we have attachment or whatever, it's a result of causes and conditions. So nothing to get mad at ourselves about. Simply change the causes and conditions. So even though we can't find some solid I in any side of this whole thing, still all these causes and conditions operate together and create experiences and bring things about. So seeing that, let's work for the benefit of these dependently arising so-called people, and bring up the causes and conditions for compassion and bodhicitta. So it's interesting, isn't it? When we get mad, it's like, there's a real person there. And then I'm a real person. And I'm a bad person because I got mad. I'm supposed to be a good Buddhist. And I'm a bad Buddhist. I got mad. And we conceive of ourselves as this, very solid thing that's angry. Yeah. That then is hopeless and helpless and irredeemable and always angry and unworthy and shameful and on and on and on. Huh? And now that eye's depressed. I can't think anything good. And it just wants to go sleep or go out to the pub or watch a movie or play with the cat. This eye that's botching the whole thing up. And it's not there. Yeah? It's not there. What eye are you going to point to that is the owner of all those emotions? Hello? Yeah? What eye is there that, has those emotions? What eye is it that's so terrible and irredeemable? Now, what is it? Do you get some kind of weird feeling inside? Yeah. Feels like there's got to be somebody there, but what are you going to point to? Yeah. Like when you say to yourself, I'm a lost cause. We believe that so much, don't we? I'm a lost cause. Or whatever you say to yourself. Sometimes it's, I'm so wonderful, but nobody appreciates me. There's that one. What else do you say to yourself? Or you like that one? I saw a lot of people smile with that one. Yeah.
You're just lazy. Lazy.
I'm so lazy.
Complacent.
Yeah. I'm wasting my precious human life. Yeah. I could do so much, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
I should be much further along by now.
Yeah. I should be much further along by now.
You just can't get it right.
I just can't get it right. But actually, I'm such a wonderful nun at the Abbey and nobody appreciates me. There's that too, isn't there? Yeah. Look how much I contribute. And I contribute so much and nobody says thank you. Why are you laughing?
Then you went to hopelessness.
Then you went to what? Oh,
then you went to hopelessness.
Oh yeah, then you go to hopelessness.
No, I give up.
Yeah, I give up. Yeah, I quit. Yeah, why should I try and do anything because they don't say thank you?
Thank you.
Yeah. And they don't do anything either except complain about me. Yeah. But I'm so wonderful. How can they complain about me? It's unfair. So you see how this everything turns around this big eye? And what are you going to point to? What in the world is that thing? Yeah? What is that thing that is, that, the whole thing is, the whole story is about? What is that central character? Yeah, what are we going to point to? There's this, because we're sure there's a star of the show. What are we going to point to? This is the star of the show. Yeah? When you really, really look, there's only the thought, I. That's all you can find is the thought, I. Is the thought a person?
He thinks it is.
But what is a person anyway? Is it just a thought? Yeah. When you got your driver's license, did a thought get a driver's license? Who got the driver's license? Yeah? Who got the driver's license? You have a driver's license. It must refer to somebody. Who does the driver's license refer to?
The being imputed on this body and mind.
And where's that? Where's that? Yeah. So very interesting to kind of, explore your sense of I a little bit. That feels so real. Yeah. When you're tired and you just go, I'm so tired. I just want to go to sleep. Yeah. It feels like there's a real I there, doesn't it? A real I that is so exhausted. Yeah? Okay, so what is that I that's so exhausted? What are you going to point to that is so exhausted? Yeah? Is it your feet? Yeah. Your esophagus? Your mind that's singing? What is it? Who is it that is so exhausted? And yet when we say, I'm so exhausted, it feels like there's got to be a real person there who's the exhausted one. If there weren't a real person who's exhausted, then you couldn't be exhausted. And if you weren't exhausted, then you would have to stay up. Anyway, look.
The pointing out instruction.
Yeah, right. Who is exhausted? Where did that sense of exhaustion come from? Do I look like a good facsimile? Okay, let's see. Okay, so we talked about last time establishing the lack of the intrinsic nature of mind. Okay, so that's all settled, right? But it's interesting, that sense of mind. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, how we make something mine. And as soon as it's mine, the object changes from its side. By being made mine, it magically changes. Yeah, have you noticed that? Yeah, it's so interesting. Like if somebody sends something, somebody sends a package, and there's there was that nice Tibetan nun's t-shirt or hoodie that someone sent us. Really beautiful, soft, comfy, with a zipper in front. And when we looked at it, it's just, okay, there's a Tibetan nun's hoodie. No big deal. Except, I wonder if it's my size. I wonder if it's been washed and it's shrunk already. Because if it hasn't, then when it's washed, it may be too small for me. And then, if you're the one who gets the hoodie, then that hoodie looks totally different, doesn't it? Yeah. My Tibetan Nuns Project hoodie that I'm going to wear to the March for Your Life tomorrow. Who got it?
It's actually in the gift closet.
Huh?
We let it go. It's in the gift closet.
You want it?
Yeah.
I'll wear it tomorrow.
No, but where people, if you look at it, and then you say, I want that, and that's mine, and you happen to be the one who gets it. Yeah, I already have enough stuff. But if you happen to be the one that gets it, then it looks totally different than when it's just sitting out there when it arrived and it's, it belongs to the community. As soon as it's given to you, the community gives it to you, then, it's mine.
It's imbued with mine.
Yes, definitely imbued. And so when you wash it and it doesn't come back in the laundry,
Oh, so common.
then you write a note on the board there. My Tibetan Nuns Project hoodie is missing. Who has it? Look in your drawers. This is my hoodie. Isn't it? My hoodie is missing. Yeah. And so this thing is imbued with mineness, isn't it? Yeah, totally imbued. Yeah, she has a kid. Yeah, some kid. There are how many kids on this planet? There's a lot of kids on this planet. We're all kids of somebody, aren't we? We're all the kids of some parents. Yeah? So over 7 billion kids of parents. Yeah? But my child, mine. Yeah? What is it that makes that yours? Yeah?
36 hours of labor.
What, you worked on the road for 36 hours? Didn't they pay you for the road work? You labored? Yeah. But if they switch the babies, they may have switched the babies in the hospital. Yeah. Yeah, I read an article about they had in one hospital, I forget, it was somewhere in South America, they had 2 mothers had twin boys at the same time, and they got them all mixed up. So it was, each set wound up to be, what was it? Yeah, one was from a rural family, one was from a city family, and they just got completely, mixed up and raised by the other family that wasn't theirs. And then they found out later when they were adults because what it was is, I think they were both sets of fraternal twins, but no, of identical twins, but one of each set got mixed up. So then each family thought they had fraternal twins. And then somebody, one of the kids was working at a supermarket, and a friend said, met somebody new and said, "Hey, you look just like my friend who's in the supermarket." Yeah, and that's how they found out, yeah? So, what's the thing of my children? Can you imagine? You raise these kids, and then you find out that one of them is not your biological child. So, is that your child or not your child? You say yes.
No, I'm saying yes. See the plot line.
Yeah? So, what is it that makes a child yours?
Attachment.
Pretty much, isn't it? But it's interesting, isn't it? You say, oh, well, the kid looks like me. So? Yeah. When I was in Tibet, I met the nephew of one of my teachers who looked exactly like my teacher. But of course, it wasn't his child. It was his sister's child. So what makes, just because somebody looks like you?
Especially when they come in with all of their own karma, all of their own everything.
Yeah,
Like you said, they're strangers.
yeah.
They don't have any relationship to us whatsoever. They're nothing. Maybe an egg and all these little microscopic things got put together, and that's what we put my on.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's quite interesting to look at, as soon as we say my, how the thing changes. Yeah?
Makes lotus birth very appealing.
Makes what word?
Lotus birth very appealing.
Lotus birth. Okay. But that's my lotus. I came out of that lotus. My lotus is better than your lotus. Okay. So very interesting, because these are things that are quite important to us, I and mine. And, how much do we really investigate? Who is this I? And what is it that makes something mine? Yeah? What makes something mine? And how, to really watch, as soon as I label it mine, how, the whole thing looks different. Yeah, looks totally different. Okay, so.
I'd just like to say my Zen's been missing for months.
My underskirt is Reaper's in.
Oh, okay, they ran away together.
There's some with my hat.
With your hat?
There's a whole suit somewhere.
Okay, so the next section is explaining the meaning of what is said to be like an illusion. Okay, so the idea is when you meditate on emptiness and have a direct realization, nothing appears to that mind except emptiness. When you come out, then dependent arising things appear again, and they appear like illusions. And it said even when you have an inferential understanding of emptiness, a correct inference, yeah, because emptiness is appearing during the time of your meditation, although it's appearing to be how emptiness appears to be a little truly existent. I don't know, but anyway, It does. But similarly, when you come out of it and then conventionalities appear to you, yeah, then there's an illusion-like appearance. But I imagine that what the illusion-like appearance looks like changes when you're coming out of an inferential meditation versus a direct perceiver, and also a direct perceiver on what level of the path. So I think that, what the illusion like seems like is going to be different according to your realization of emptiness. When it talks about illusion like, it's not what you're seeing with your eyes. It's the illusion-like appearances to your mental consciousness. Okay, so it says, although in the eyes of a direct perceiver perceiving it, it exists unmistakably. From the angle of refuting true existence, it is taught that nirvana too is an illusion. So here's nirvana, an ultimate truth, the thing that we're trying to get, actualize. So, from the angle of its emptiness, it's not there, but nirvana too can appear like an illusion. Okay. Similarly, although something appears to be a perceiver as inherently existent, so even the mind that's perceiving, it does not exist inherently the way it appears. Okay, so even the mind that is perceiving something, appears truly existent, but it's not. And so what does a truly existent mind look like? And this, I think, relates a little bit to last night's discussion. Our idea is, here's the object out there, an objective thing, a mouse, okay? There's the mouse. Okay, it's out there. In here, somewhere, there's a mind, there's a consciousness, that is waiting to perceive this mouse. And then there's, the eye sense power, the eye faculty, your retina, and that's cones and rods and things. That's just sitting there too, that is waiting to, contact this mouse that's out there and bring it in line with this consciousness that's waiting to see it, so that then the consciousness sees the mouse. Yeah, isn't that the way you think of it? Yeah, they're all out there, existing out there, totally independent of each other. Yeah, so this is a mouse that is totally independent of every mind that exists. Whether anybody's looking at it or not, it's totally independent. Okay? But somebody invented this. Is it totally independent? It's not independent, is it? Yeah, it exists. Human beings created this thing. Anyway, it looks like it's out there. Always been a mouse, always has been, independent from all of our mind streams. And then there's a consciousness in here that is just a visual consciousness that's just hanging out, doing nothing, waiting to make contact with that. Yeah, so that the two things, with your retina in the way, then it goes like that. They touch each other somehow. And then you say, I saw the mouse. Huh? That's what it seems like. Is that actually the way it is? Yeah. Is there an objective mouse out there that's waiting for you to see it? Is there a visual consciousness here that's hanging out waiting to see that mouse? Yeah. Is there an eye faculty that is a sense organ that doesn't depend on having an object or consciousness? Yeah. No, these three things exist dependent on each other, don't they? You can't have an object unless you have a subject, and you can't have either of them unless you have, a sense organ that's connecting them. But they all appear quite independent, okay? So that's how things appear to us. When we meditate on emptiness, then all those appearances dissolve and only emptiness appears. When you come out of emptiness, these things appear to your eye consciousness in the same way as before, but your mental consciousness knows it's fake. Yeah, your mental consciousness knows it's fake. Okay, since persons, forms, sounds, and so on combine appearance and emptiness, it is taught their appearance is like an illusion. Although empty, agents and actions exist, hence existence is not totally denied. Okay, so we're not saying that there's no mouse and no rods and cones and no visual consciousness. We're just saying those things exist, but not in the way they appear to us. As they appear as if they're out there, objective, independent of each other and of everything else. Yeah. But as it says here, phenomena are entirely devoid of inherent existence. Since this is known, it is not a mind's invention. Okay, so since people can cognize these things, they're not just, they're not the, the sky flower and the hair on the teeth and the turtle's mustache and the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Okay. It is true of all knowable entities, not just some. So everything is empty, and yet everything exists or appears like an illusion. So it's not that just some things are empty and other things are really true and absolute entities. So even emptiness itself is dependent. Emptiness itself is empty. Yeah, we would really like for there to be some absolute truth that's just out there that doesn't depend on anything. Yeah, just something that's totally reliable, doesn't change, absolute, doesn't depend on anything. Yeah, we would like that. But if there were something like that, we could never perceive it. Because if it were an independent entity that didn't depend on anything, then it couldn't be perceived. Yeah. So if somebody perceives it, it makes it dependent. Yeah. It's the thing that generated that consciousness. Okay. As it is established by mind, it is not an unsuitable object for a mind. Since it is discoverable by a mind understanding emptiness, it is knowable. Well, the mind okay, it's different minds that perceive emptiness and perceive the conventionalities before you're a Buddha. Strange sentence. However, since it does not truly exist, it is said to be like an illusion. If you wonder, okay, so that's the kind of idea. And he'll get into it more, but Tsongkhapa does it a lot in both the Middle Lamrim and the Great Lamrim. And he really stresses that illusion-like appearance isn't that, it isn't like a hallucination. It isn't that what you're seeing with your eyes is changing and it's all diffuse or smoky or glittery or like a rainbow or transparent or chaotic parts with different things floating around in space or appearing and disappearing. And, that's none of that stuff is the meaning of illusion-like appearance. Yeah, none of that. Because illusion-like appearance is not what's happening with your eye consciousness. Okay? And it's not a chaotic appearance to your mental consciousness either. Okay? So this is important. Otherwise, because we've all had kind of strange experiences, haven't we? I know for me, if I go to see a movie at a movie theater, when I walk out of the movie theater, I feel so weird because it's like I've been involved in this reality so intensely. And then suddenly I'm out in the street and there's cars and there's all these people and it's totally different. And, and I get the sense like, oh, this isn't real, because my mind's still like in the movie. So what I'm seeing isn't real. It's like I could peel it off like a tangerine. Yeah. Do you ever have that feeling? Yeah. And that's not illusion-like appearance. Yeah, so distressing to find that out, because to have illusion-like appearance, you have to first realize emptiness. So it's not some kind of chaotic, weird experience of, things appearing and floating and dissolving into rainbows and, like Fantasia. Remember Fantasia? Yeah. Yeah, what was the music in that? Was it? Yeah. It was, yeah. So, yeah, but it's not like that. Yeah. It's like Wizard of Oz, Dorothy, that whole thing was her dream, wasn't it? Or was she unconscious? Was she in a coma?
She was knocked unconscious in a tornado.
Yeah, so she was in kind of a comatose state, yeah. And she had that whole thing, and it was so real. Yeah, so real. They even made a movie out of it, and we all thought it was real when we watched it because we didn't like the Wicked Witch of the West, but then there was another witch in the Glenda. Which direction was she in?
North.
She was the Witch of the North, and we loved her.
Who's this we you're talking about?
So it's quite interesting, how we grasp onto certain things is quite real when, they don't exist the way they appear at all. Okay, so now after class we'll all be, what was the music? Something I can't remember, when they were going with the mops and, I can't remember that movie, just bits flashing through. Okay, so if you wonder, okay, so that reflections, dreams, magical illusions. Have you been to Disneyland and sat next to a ghost on the haunted house? Did you go when you were a kid? You remember coming out of the haunted house and you looked across and you saw yourself sitting in the car and there was a ghost right next to you. Yeah? Remember that? Okay. So reflections, dreams, magical illusions, and so forth do not exist as they appear. Yeah, so that is established by ordinary direct perceivers. Yeah, so this is what you're wondering. So doesn't that fact make ordinary beings Aryas? Okay, so because our ordinary direct perceivers can tell that a reflection and a dream and that ghost are not real. Yeah, we can see that they're not real, that they're like illusions. So doesn't that make us Aryas? Because we have some kind of, that reliable cognizer that sees things like illusions. Okay, so that's what somebody's asking. It's a good question, actually. Yeah. So, no, sorry, it doesn't make us Aryas. Yeah, because establishing that the reflection of a face magically produced horses and elephants and houses that appear in dreams are not actual houses and so on does not mean you have established their emptiness. Okay, so remember, before having illusion-like appearances, as they're meaning here, you have to have a realization of emptiness. So knowing that the face in the mirror is not a real face does not depend on having realized emptiness. Knowing that the ghost sitting next to you, isn't real, you don't have to realize emptiness. They have this thing in India, apparently. I've never seen it. But apparently in olden times, they had magicians who, they had some kind of salve, and that if they put it on your eyes and said some kind of magical incantation, you might have some sticks and stones here, but by the power of the salve on your eyes and the magical incantation, the sticks and stones would appear like horses and elephants. Yeah, like real horses and elephants. Like you get scared. Yeah, because you're sitting there and there's a big elephant walking towards you. Yeah, not just a little cougar, cougars are small, But have you ever stood next to an elephant? They're really big. Yeah. And you're not, it doesn't look like, oh, it's a fake elephant. Yeah, it looks like a real elephant. And, and it makes the noises of an elephant and it poops like an elephant and everything, just like a real elephant. Okay, but it's just an appearance due to the salve and the mantra. Yeah, this is an example that the Svatantrikas use a lot. Yeah. Okay. So just because you establish that's not a real horse, and my dream, that dream you had last night that was so great, none of those people existed. It was just a dream. It's not like, they're real people that are hiding out somewhere else, so when you dream, then they come back in to be in your dream. No, they're just appearances to your mind when you're into the dreaming consciousness. Okay, so ascertaining, that all these things are not actual objects does not mean that you've established their emptiness. Nevertheless, as explained earlier, these are used as concordant similes. Similes is misspelled. Okay, so it's used as an example. Subtle emptiness on the basis of these objects is the fact that they do not exist truly in the way that they appear. Their coarse appearances as real houses and so forth conflict with their existing truly. This can be established by contemplation. after realizing the lack of inherent existence using these familiar examples of falseness, you realize it is in relation to phenomena not known to be false. Thus, the order of realization is certain, the example, then the meaning. Okay, so what it's saying in language that doesn't seem very clear, okay, is that just noticing that these things do not exist as they appear does not mean that you've realized their emptiness and you're seeing the illusion like appearances as described here, in the Dharma. Okay, so if you really want to realize, because you can see, okay, there's no face in the mirror. That's a very kind of gross emptiness, but that's not the emptiness of inherent existence. Yeah, if you still need to realize the emptiness of inherent existence of the reflection itself, okay, because the reflection exists, yeah, and it appears to truly exist, but it doesn't. Okay, so the face in the mirror is a false appearance, and the face in the mirror doesn't even conventionally exist. Yeah, because there's no face in the mirror. The reflection of the face conventionally exists. Okay, so we have to realize the emptiness of the reflection of the face, not just the emptiness, the coarse emptiness of there's no person in the mirror. Okay? Yeah, otherwise, we would all be Aryas and we'd have it all down pat and no problems anymore. Okay, so the thing is, when it says the real order of realization is certain, the example, then the meaning, is first we have to understand the meaning of the example of the dream and the horses and elephants and the face in the mirror and all these different examples. And then by understanding the examples, that leads us to think more deeply on another level about, what is this example actually illustrating? Okay, so you have to understand the example before you understand what it's illustrating. Okay. The realizer of one thing's emptiness is the realizer of all things' emptiness. Okay, it's from 400 stanzas. Yeah, it's a very famous verse. So the meaning of this statement is that when emptiness is newly realized, it suffices to change the focus to other objects, and it can be realized in relation to them. So that is talking about an inferential understanding, an inferential realization of emptiness, not a direct one. Okay, so if you have, an actual inference of you're meditating, let's say, on the eye, and you have an inferential realization that the eye is empty, then with that realization, if it's a correct realization, then all you have to do is like look at another person or look at the statue or look at the staircase, just change your mind to another object, and then that object's empty. Okay, but you don't, when you have the inferential understanding, it isn't that everything is empty. It's the thing you are analyzing is empty. But as soon as you change your mind to another object, then that one's empty too. And His Holiness says this is one way to check if, when you're meditating on the emptiness of the eye, to see if you've actually refuted the existence of an inherently existent eye, or of a self-sufficient, substantially existent I. Because if you've refuted the deeper one, the deeper object of negation, the inherently existent I, then, your initial realization is the I is empty. And then when you switch it to another object, like the aggregates, you have the same kind of perception, mental perception or same realization. Oh, there's no aggregates either. But if you've only realized the emptiness of a self-sufficient, substantially existent person, then when you change your focus to another object, you don't have the same feeling, the same kind of understanding. Okay? So that's talking about the inferential understanding. As for direct realization of emptiness, the real view is that it understands the emptiness of all things simultaneously. Okay, so that's the difference with the inferential one. You need, it's only for one object, and then you have to change objects to realize the emptiness of the other objects. But when you have a direct perception of the emptiness of one object, then you have a direct perception of the emptiness of all objects. Okay, so all these emptinesses completely appear unified to you. Okay. Understanding that reflections magically produced horses and elephants and houses and dreams are not real does not allow for even a partial understanding of their lack of inherent existence. Okay? So just seeing that the examples don't exist, that a dream object is not a real object, that you haven't come close to realizing emptiness. Yeah. So don't get so excited about it. Okay. But look at that and examine it, especially, when you wake up from a dream that seems so real, and how, when you're in the dream, everything is so real and so many emotions come up and so on. But yeah, when you wake up, they're all gone. They were only appearances. Okay, same thing, when you really think about it, why do we get so emotional watching things on a screen? Yeah, we get so emotional. And yet, there's no people in that screen. There's absolutely no people in that screen. And yet, when we see, people get pushed around, or we see people get praised or whatever on a screen, we have so, it really stirs. But there's not a real person there. Yeah. But we're so tricked, we're so fooled. Yeah. I mean, it brings the idea of fake news to a different level, doesn't it? Because regular old fake news we can identify. Yeah, sorry, you didn't have that many people at your inauguration. Look at the pictures. We can identify that. Yeah, but we can't identify.
There's no people in the picture.
Yeah, that there's no people in the picture. Yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? Because we just see a picture of somebody, and then we have this incredible reaction. Or we just have a thought about a person. Yeah, you have a memory about someone. And then, such a strong emotional reaction, either loving them or hating them. Yeah, but there's no person there. But we get so caught up in it. Yeah.
That's also our ability to recall the Buddhas, isn't it?
It what?
That's also our ability to recall the Buddhas.
To recall the Buddhas.
Yeah, like when we think about the Buddhas are not there.
Yeah.
And then we have all these, it's the same function.
Yeah. Except you could say the Buddhas are there because they say that the Buddha's mind pervades everything because it knows everything. So in one way, maybe you could say the Buddhas are there. But in any case, it's something that helps us. So there's actually a lot of discussion about this because some of the practices we do, if we tried to prove them on the debate ground, we couldn't do that. But the thing is that they're practices that help our mind. Yeah. So we imagine different things because that imagination helps our mind to understand something. So they say it's actually not a wrong consciousness because it's done deliberately for a specific purpose. Okay?
What's not a wrong consciousness?
Huh?
What's not a wrong consciousness?
When you, like when you're meditating on, you're doing the meditation on bones, and you're filling the whole universe with bones, or you're just even visualizing the Buddha. Yeah, they say it's not a wrong consciousness because you're doing it for a specific purpose. Same when you visualize yourself in Tantra as a deity. Yeah. So it would seem in one way like that's got to be a wrong consciousness. And you can see, like for example, you know, if somebody doesn't do Tantra properly, then they could think they really are the deity. But you're told in Tantra to really think you are the deity. But if you really think you are the deity, somebody sends you to the loony house. It's quite interesting. Yeah? So what in the world does it mean to see yourself as a deity? Yeah. Because I talked to one person once who, she'd come to one Kopan course and then she went off and did something, and I guess she was visualizing herself as the Buddha, you know, in the meditation we have. And she said she really began to think that she was a Buddha. And then her husband, you know, had to take her to the doctor. Yeah. But on the other hand, we're encouraged to really think that we are. So this is why meditating on emptiness is so important. Yeah, because if you are thinking you're a real Buddha, an inherently existent Buddha, then you have mental problems. But if you realize that that Buddha is somehow, you know, it's an appearance to the mind, it's not truly existent, then you can do that practice and it will benefit your mind. Yeah. But most of us don't even really believe it when we visualize it anyway, do we? Because our regular appearance is so strong to us that to think that we're not who we are is just unimaginable. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, there's real me, but with, you know, kind of the deity skin plastered on top of me somehow. You know? Just kind of imagining that is difficult for us. Okay. So then the next outline, showing the incorrect way illusion-like appearances occur. Without ascertaining the measure of the object to be negated, explained earlier. So if you don't understand your negated object properly, some say that since objects broken down by reasoning are not found, the mind of the analyzer is similar, not found when broken down, and the one who ascertains it as not findable must also not exist at all. Okay, so some people, yeah, if they haven't identified what true existence really looks like, when they can't find whatever it is they're analyzing, then they think that thing plus me is the one who is analyzing and ascertaining that none of it exists. So they go to the extreme of non-existence. Yeah. In equipoise, there is nothing ascertainable as existing or non-existing. Yeah, so that's why you have people that say, oh, yeah, and they say, oh, realization of emptiness is it's not existing and it's not non-existing. Yeah. Then, in post-equipoise, various hazy appearances arise. These are nihilistic equipoise and post-equipoise, which demolish interdependence! Exclamation point. Okay? So that's totally the wrong view. That's nihilism. So just because you can't find something when you analyze it with ultimate analysis, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist at all. It means that it doesn't ultimately exist, but it doesn't negate its conventional existence or its veiled existence. Okay? So it's nihilistic because it's going too far. Not meditating on the instruction that neutralizes the object of negation. Neutralizes it? Maybe refutes it. And instead, meditating for long periods on there being nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. I'm realizing nothing, but I don't want it to disappear. Yeah. So meditating for long periods on there being nothing, after which meditation, things appear like smoke or rainbows, flimsy, inconsistent, and vague. Basically like you're stoned. Okay? Yeah. So such equipoise and post-equipoise just neutralize coarse, obstructive things. Whoever, by a reliable cognizer, has established the combination of the two, the lack of the slightest inherent existence and cause and effect, and posited them without incompatibility, has discovered the profound path. Okay, so just having this feeling like nothing exists and it's all kind of flimsy appearances, that's just some kind of nihilistic make-believe. Okay, so the real test is by a reliable cognizer, then you can understand an object's lack of any bit of inherent existence whatsoever, and you can also establish that object exists due to causes and conditions and will produce effects. Okay, so when you can compare, this is the meaning of seeing that emptiness and dependent arising are compatible. Okay, where you could posit both. They're empty, yet they exist dependently. But existing dependently, that doesn't mean the way we see them now. Like we think, oh yeah, they're empty. When you search, you can't find them. And then you come out, and then they look like they've already exist, like they've always existed. And so that's what conventional existence is. Yeah, they still appear inherently existent to me. That's conventional existence. I don't want to negate that. But yet I negated it and realized emptiness. Okay? So we're not really getting it. Not really getting it, if that happens. It would be like saying, oh, I saw Trump on on the screen, and he was saying blah, 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 blah. And I know that's just an image, it's just an appearance because there's no Trump in the screen. Yeah, so I realized that there's no Trump in the screen. But can you imagine that idiot right there that I'm pointing to really said that? So you see the contradiction in our own appearance? We say, oh, it's not real, but look at what that idiot right there said. Okay, so that means that we haven't understood. Yeah, but we do that all the time too, don't we? Yeah. It was just a dream. Oh, but the Dalai Lama was in it, and he said this to me, and so it really must, Okay. Okay, then relying on what method, how illusion-like appearances occur. Therefore, if in meditative equipoise you neutralize or refute the object of grasping at characteristics, okay, so you're refuting the object of the mind that grasps things as existing by their own characteristics, okay, then your meditation of space-like emptiness is performed correctly. So we have to refute the object that ignorance is grasping as existent. Okay? When you arise from that state and observe objects' appearance, they naturally appear as subsequently attained illusory phenomena to your mental consciousness, not to sense consciousnesses. Yeah, they don't put that in the text, but it's an important point. Yeah, otherwise you think, that's why people think, oh, everything's flimsy and it's rainbows and that kind of stuff. No, it's how it appears to your mind. Yeah, it appears as real, but your mind knows that's fake. Okay, it's like, it would be like when you go to the mall at Christmas time, you see Santa with your eyes, but your mind says, that's just so-and-so dressed up. And you're sure about it, even though your eyes are seeing Santa.
It seems like having those two consciousnesses together, though, would influence how the object appears to the sense consciousness. It's, so maybe it's not illusory light, or maybe it's not like a dream or hazy or vague or whatever, but once you've had a direct perception and in post-equipoise you're looking at something, that mental consciousness, the understanding of that mental consciousness, it's not like there's two separate, very diverse streams that are happening. What I'm saying is the mental consciousness must impact how you actually see things.
Well, I wonder, because on one hand, that would make sense. On the other hand, if you're just looking neurologically, your whole neurological thing is functioning as it was before you realized emptiness. Yeah, and that thing wouldn't change. Yeah. Anyway, we'll wait and see what it is when we figure out. Otherwise, we're both just talking, or at least I'm just talking about what I have no experience of. Similarly, as stated previously, after intense analytical meditation on emptiness has led to ascertainment of emptiness, later illusoriness appears. There is no specific meditation for illusoriness. Okay, so your meditation your space-like meditation on emptiness, there's a whole method on how you do it. But the meditation on the illusory nature that comes after you come out of equipoise, not before, not during, but after the equipoise on emptiness, okay, there's no specific method to make things appear like illusory or to do anything special. It's just, this is how they appear, and you know that they're false. Yeah. So there's one example. I don't know if it's in this text, but I think it's Jay Rinpoche talks about it, that it's like if you know when you look at the moon and you go like that you can see two moons, and you know from your own experience that the appearance of two moons is false. Okay? Then, after you know very clearly in your mind that there's no existence of two moons, then just looking and seeing two moons reminds you that there's no two moons there. Yeah, and that's what they call dependent arising dawning as emptiness. No, emptiness dawning as dependent arising. So just the appearance of the object falsely lets you know in post-equipoise that appearance is false. There's no special technique that you have to do. Yeah. You don't sit there and look at it and say, oh, is that really, two moons are appearing. Is there really two moons there? Because you already know through your own direct perception that it's a false appearance. So then just seeing the false appearance lets you see, you just, I think that is quite amazing. Just by seeing the false appearance, you automatically know it's false. Yeah? Because you've meditated on emptiness and you've gained this complete certainty that, things are not inherently existent the way they appear to me. So then you have the appearance of inherent existence, then automatically, fake news. Yeah? You don't have to do anything else. In brief, once the conceptual appearance of the object to be negated as imputed by the ignorance within your mind has appeared, if inherent existence existed as such, it would have to be one or multiple. So if things exist in the way they're appearing to the ignorance, grasping to existence, then they would have to exist as either inherently one or inherently different. But each object has arguments to disprove it. After thorough analysis of the object has led to ascertainment by the power of the prior reasoning, you can conclude a person's existence is not in the slightest inherently established. So you do all this reasoning, and through the reasoning, you're, repeatedly again and again, then you can really say, wow, things cannot exist the way they appear. Yeah. It's kind of like, if you look at the screen and there's all these people in it, and then you ask yourself, if those people, if there were real people inside that screen, then how would things have to be if there were real people in the screen? First of all, I should be able to talk to them and ask them questions and they would respond to me. Second, I should be able to shake hands with them. Third, they should be able to look at me and say, hi, children. Fourth, what,
It would have to be much bigger.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they would actually, the people would actually be big, regular size. They wouldn't be just this. Then you go and say, okay, so if they really exist the way they appeared, yeah, then there have to be little people who are actually just this small and all these other things. Then you check, okay, can I shake hands with that person? No. Can they look at me and say hi? No. Are they really that big? No. Can I ask them a question and they'll answer me? No. Oh, well, those are all those things. That's what I should be able to do if there were real people in that screen. And it looks like there are real people in that screen because, boy, I'm reacting emotionally to them like there is. But here I just examined, and all these things should be like this if there were real people, but none of them were like that. So those things don't exist the way they appear. Yeah? They're totally empty. There's no real people in that screen. There's no real people in that screen. You mean I paid for a movie and there's no real people in that movie, and now there's no appearance to the movie? You have no appearance of the movie? Okay, so it's like that. That's the kind of analysis you do. And then you tell very clearly there absolutely are no people in that screen. And then you look at it and you see all these people. And at the same time, you're looking at all those people in the screen. Your mind is going, there's no people in the screen. There's no people in the screen. Yeah. That's all a false appearance. There's nobody there. Yeah? Okay. So train again and again in meditating on emptiness in this manner. Then make persons and other evident conventional things appear to your mind and reflect, although they lack inherent existence, interdependence can exist. So you think like that until you are certain of it. So even though there's none of those inherently existent things there, there's an interdependent appearance of things. And on that level of appearance, those things function. But they only function on the level of appearance. If you try and find what appears to be actually there, you can't find it. All you find is emptiness. Okay. So the concordant simile, again misspelled, the concordant simile of this is that a reflection is void of being a face, yet arises from conditions, like the mirror and the face and the light and so on. Similarly, although persons are not inherently established, they arise from afflictions, karma, and so forth, and are the experiencer of their results. Reflect on this way of being again and again. Now, this is interesting, because we would hear, okay, there's no person, Although persons are not inherently established, they arise from, and we would say, sperm and egg, collection of parts, our parents. But what's it saying? Afflictions, karma, and so forth. It's taking us back to the 12 links. That this whole appearance of this whole world we live in, that appears to us, is completely the result of afflictions and karma. So it's interesting for us. We say, oh yeah, causes and conditions, thinking of physical causes and conditions, physical parts. We do that, but we don't go to thinking that this whole thing is a show, is made up by afflictions and karma. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? It shows that we really haven't thought that much about the 12 links. And we're really not so sure that this whole thing is a product of afflictions and karma. Maybe we think God made it, or it's just the external physical elements that came together. Yeah. we're not thinking, oh, it's created by afflictions and karma. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe if we thought that more, then the importance of realizing emptiness would come home to us more.
Does this mean that the mind creates the world that's experienced? Karma and affliction
It means,
cause it?
yeah, that the existence of the world depends on the mind. You can't say that the mind created the whole thing, but the existence of the world depends on the mind, definitely. Yeah. But we see it as it's all external. Yeah, we see it as it's all external. There's the universe that came about due to the Big Bang. Had nothing to do with our minds at all. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Also, when we tend to think that the person is the result of the sperm and the egg and the food, we're relating to only one aggregate.
Yeah.
That are out of 5.
Yep.
6 if you count your kid.
Yeah. Yeah. We come back that, our scientific upbringing has, But it's not just us. I think people in general tend to, whatever culture you're from, it's, things came together due to the outside stuff. Okay, so we'll stop here. And then next time, we're going to talk about dependent arising.
I wanted to offer a very simple example of how, clearly we're not, like how the mind definitely is, it's a dependent relationship. Like let's say if Venerable Semke and I were walking in the forest, all I would see are tree, right? But every time we go out, she's seeing something totally different than what I see.
Yeah.
Tamaracks or white pine. I'd be like, what is she talking about? I have no idea. All I see is tree.
Yeah.
So, just that in itself tells me, okay, something else is happening.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it is quite different when you do something with somebody who knows more than you do about whatever that thing is, and they're seeing something entirely different.